How would you like to have your very own Airbnb in 2026? This video is going to, from scratch, tell you exactly how to pick up your first or next property. This is my sales script to get landlords to give me a property. This will come with 11 years of experience. When I picked up my first Airbnb, I had an eviction on my record and a 500 credit score, and I still got landlords to say yes to let me do short-term rentals in their property. So what I'm telling you is, this sales script is effective because it took me from being broke to having over 150 Airbnbs making tens of millions of dollars, and my students using this script over the last 7 years, they have made billions of dollars, and I want some of that for you too. So lock in, take some notes. You might want to watch this again because this will be dense. This is exactly what I say to landlords. My name's Sean Rakijich. Let's begin. Welcome back, Airbnb family. Rule number one is you'll never pitch over the phone unless you absolutely have to. Many of you watching this video will be new at sales, and there is a way to sell without selling. That is just getting someone to like you. One tip to getting someone to like you is spending some time with them. So I will teach you now how to get someone on the phone to agree to meet you, and then we'll pitch them in person. If you have to do it remotely, I'll teach you that too next. Save this part of the video. I'm calling a landlord. I found his thing on Zillow. Let's do that scenario. Hey, John, my name's Sean. I found your listing on Zillow. Thank you. Yes, I own a corporate housing company. We're looking for a few properties in your neighborhood. Yours looks great from the listing so far. We'd like to come and tour your property and make sure that we can like it for our business purposes. We are a business, so we'd like to meet you as well, tell you about our model, make sure that it works for both parties. Are you free Tuesday or Wednesday for me to meet you? I'll bring you a coffee. Thanks, John. That's the basic. Now, let me show you me calling a different landlord that I didn't find it on Zillow. Let's say I met with this landlord from Zillow and I found a yard sign while I was driving to that Zillow listing. Hey, Greg, this is Sean. I saw your property for rent. There's a yard sign off of Cherry Lane. Yeah, thanks, Greg. My name's Sean. Like I said, I own a corporate housing company. We're shopping around for a few rentals in the neighborhood. We're looking to lease a few properties, year-long leases or longer. Your property looks great from the outside, but we'd like to come take a tour, make sure that it works for our uses. And we are a business, so we'd like to tell you about our business model, make sure that there's just a good mutual fit there. Are you free Wednesday morning, maybe 10 or Thursday? I'll come by, I'll bring you a coffee. That was basically the same script, except I saw their yard sign. See, what we're doing is we're introducing ourselves, we're sounding warm, and we're just trying to get them to meet us in person to tour the property, okay? Now, one thing that a lot of people get tripped up by is they're worried that a landlord is going to object on the phone or something. And my very next rule for you is to treat all objections like just a lack of clarity, okay? Here's an example. I own a corporate housing company. We like your property, want to meet you in person. Can I meet you Tuesday? John's like, wait, hold on. What did you say you do? John, well, we're a corporate housing company. Well, we sign leases and we run a business of reletting these properties to our own clientele. What does that mean? Like, who's staying at our property? What are you trying to do with my property? Sure, John. Our company, we're going to lease from you a year-long lease, year-and-a-half-long lease. So we do a long-term lease. We buy furniture. We set the property up to be attractive and marketable. We then generate all sorts of marketing materials. We put it on our website. We put it on other online websites. We have business partners, like companies that we sell to, maybe get Halliburton to put their employees in there, for example. Essentially, we hold your property as a furnished rental. We then take it to market and we try to collect more money than you charge. It's a pretty common industry. We've been in the game for, in my case, 11 years, which you can leave that out since you're new, by the way. You don't have to tell them that you're new to this. So yeah, long story short, we want to make money on your property by being a company that rents from you probably forever. We might be your last tenant if everything works out. So how does that sound, John? Can I meet you on Tuesday? The key here is that I didn't take his negativity or his talking back on the phone as the fact that this isn't going according to plan. I'm planning for the fact that some people are distrusting and we need to get him on the phone. Now, I intentionally did something here that should raise a red flag for you. At no point have I said Airbnb yet, have I? Now, we will be talking about Airbnb. It's essential to our business model. Airbnb is one of the largest marketing partners that we can have in our business. But what's also important for you to understand is that if you go to a landlord only as this Airbnb person, right, that your brain is that small, no offense, right, but your view of the space is that small that you just want to Airbnb a space, the fact that you said it like that lets the landlord know that your business really doesn't have any maturity. You don't have a position in the space. You don't have a reason to really trust you as a business person. And the truth is that you're running a business to take risks with their property and then to try to make a profit. So we need to start representing ourselves in a way that makes it look like you're a business owner. So the next thing that we might want to talk about is the fact that I use the word corporate housing company. Now, I don't recommend necessarily using this word as often anymore. What you're going to find is that I started teaching this in 2017. And there's a lot of influencers that have copied my script because they took my program and they use a lot of what I've said. They word for word, right? Corporate housing is the very first phrase that I've used. And depending on your market, if you're in Dallas, Miami, Philadelphia, Atlanta, any urban market that's had a lot of people pitching over the phone, we're probably going to use a different word. We're not going to use corporate housing. And I want to give you a cool tip for this too. If you're in a market where you think that corporate housing is a little bit played out, we can also make another assumption, which is that people know our business. We don't have to explain what short-term rentals are as much. We can expect them to be evolved because people know corporate housing, they know short-term rentals. If they've heard corporate housing on the phone 100 times, that means that they've heard our pitch already 100 times, right? So we can kind of evolve with the city. And this is what we want to do to keep picking up properties. To this day, I teach people in my program, Cracking Superos, to pick up properties. I've got students who picked up dozens of properties inside of 12 months, like Steven here on Instagram. Marjorie just fix and flips, and she bought her property. But Trevor, he's on his third coaching program, and I was the first one to teach him how to actually get a property. Other students like Charlie had a couple properties from another influencer, but couldn't get her to make the listings profitable, and so she came to me. And she started expanding with my scripts in Atlanta. Students in 43 countries, they've made billions of dollars. And I am launching in Australia. We're gonna pick up 1,000 properties or more before the Olympics in 2030. To bring that tangent back, what do we say instead of corporate housing? We could say furnished accommodations business, travel relocations business. You could say short-term accommodations, modular accommodations. We're a furnished housing partner. There's all sorts of things that you could say that you think are slightly brand differentiated from the average. And now, before we get into the real script of what we say in person, I want to give you something that I've never said for free on the internet. This has only been private student coaching stuff, I'm pretty sure. When we pitch real estate agents over the phone and property managers over the phone, they're gatekeepers. And if you said the same thing that you would say to a landlord, which is like, I like this one property, I'd like to meet you at the property, and they start to interrogate you, and you say what you say, they're going to gatekeep to see if you're worth their time, because in their brain, they're thinking, will the landlord ever even say yes to the thing the person is trying to pitch, right? They're a salesperson, and so now they're filtering you as a salesperson would. We have to appeal to them in a different way, and there is an easy way to do this. When I talk to a real estate agent, I know that they want as many commissions as possible. When I talk to a property management company, I know that they want their properties as full as possible and as easily run at scale as possible. So both real estate agents and property managers have scale-related concerns or desires. So I'm not going to talk about one property. For both, I angle it kind of like this. Real estate agent. Hey, Jerry, this is Sean. I found one of your properties on Cherry Lane on Zillow. I want to make sure you are the agent representing the property, right? Okay, great. My name's Sean. I represent a furnished accommodations company here in Dallas. We're looking for a handful of properties in this neighborhood, and this one property on Cherry Lane, we really like it from the outside. We'd like to come tour it, but before I kind of get the cart in front of the horse, we're looking for a handful of properties. Our rental budget per year is probably going to be about $1 million per year in this neighborhood. So I'd like to actually meet you in person and look at what else you have in your portfolio in and around this neighborhood to see kind of what all you have that we might be able to take from you. And then we can set up some tours after that if that works. Do you have an office? I can come see you on Thursday, maybe meet you at a coffee shop. Cool. Thanks. Thank you so much, Jerry. I'll see you on Thursday. That was the real estate agent version of the pitch. Property manager, kind of same thing. We're looking for multiple units, possibly even multiple buildings that you represent. I'd like to meet you at your office and see what all you have that we can rent. This abstraction takes the real estate agent or the property manager out of the gatekeeping mode and going, this one landlord will say yes or no. And they start using the law of averages mindset, which every salesperson has. Every salesperson believes that enough no's leads to yeses. So instead of them analyzing every landlord in their Rolodex in their brain, they'll go, some will say yes, some will say no. This person sounds like they're worth my time. I'll meet them. Okay. That's how you get a real estate agent or property manager in person. Next is the script, what we say in person. Before we get into it, please hit the like button if you found this valuable yet. And I promise you this works. We've done this tens of thousands of times this works. But with that said, there is an evolution of this that I will not put in public. There's plenty free on this YouTube channel, but my newest stuff goes to my students first. If you want to hear my new stuff, just send me a DM on Instagram, okay? So the script is something I call sales by analogy, okay? I made this up because what I found is that landlords understand corporate housing and they're comfortable with it because they know what it is. And in sales, we want to keep people comfortable as much as possible in a sale. We want them to feel in control. So by telling them the words corporate housing to start, they feel in control of their visual perspective of that. And so sales by analogy is that we are an analogy of corporate housing. And so we're going to walk them from corporate housing to our model. And still, there's one step before we pitch. We meet the landlord, we talk to them, get to know them a little bit, find out about their world of being a landlord and everything else that's wonderful, all right? And we find out the things that they don't like, whether it's evicting people, whether it's tenants that disrepair property when they move out. Maybe it's the fact that their properties go empty for a really long time. Maybe they don't like having to pay real estate agents, all these commissions, stuff like that, okay? We'll use that later in the sale. This is important. Please write this down. Now for the landlord, we'll then say, okay, yeah, let me catch you up, John. We are a corporate housing company, but we do things slightly differently. Instead of signing a 4-month lease like a typical company, we'll sign a year-long lease or longer. We also buy our furniture. That means we invest into a better looking space, a more competitive space than a typical corporate housing company. And this also drives our costs down by having longer leases and buying our furniture. This means that we can take a better product to market and serve a wider audience of customer. Big businesses, small businesses, relocating families, students, recreational travel, this whole world of transient traffic. We also allow our tenants to stay any number of weeks or months. Once they move out, we find a new one and we just continue the process and we continue to renew our leases with you. With that said, what questions do you have for me? Key parts of this script for you is that I'm using lingo that is familiar to them for the moment, okay? I'm using this corporate housing analogy. I use the word tenants, but as we get into the Q&A, they're going to more understand exactly what it is that we're doing. And within 10 or 15 minutes of them asking questions and gaining clarity, they will patch together everything in their own mind. But instead of me using words that could trigger a response that I then have to control, I'm using words that they feel comfortable with. And for this, it will require product knowledge. A landlord will ask you, how long do people tend to stay? Where are you getting your customers? What are the risks? What about my appliances? What about the yard? What about insurances? So you'll want to take some time to learn about the space so that way you can give someone confident, reassuring answers. This is the part where you do want to be reassuring to the landlord. And what we find is about 15 minutes in, they ask their questions, you nod along, you answer the questions, you relate to them, you remind them now of their bad experiences with other tenants, and you can now patch together why this business model is better for them than regular tenants. You get them to believe that this could be a good idea, and their body language, their tone of voice, their facial expressions will stop looking kind of reserved or skeptical. And then at that point that they soften up a little bit, you can go for the sale. And this is the art of assumption. We'll say, so what's the next step? Is there an application for us to fill out? Maybe one that you send us online, or is there a paper copy? I'm asking for clarity on what the application will look like. And if he answers or she answers that question by way of them telling us that we can apply, that lets me know that they've approved of the idea. I'm not going to stop and ask, go, hey, just want to make sure we're good to go, right? Cool. Okay, how do we do this application? I'm going to treat it as if this business model is good. I'm going to treat it as if their body language softening up is a sign that they like the business model, and I will confidently ask for the next step, which is to fill out the application. This is psychologically the most airtight way to go about it. Now, I do have a different path for pitching apartment complexes. That is something that I can tell you about in private. You will also need a lease addendum with the landlord to get them to approve you on paper for the changes to the lease, because the landlord's lease doesn't allow Airbnb. We just get them to sign a little one-page addendum. You can have ChatGPT help you with that. Otherwise, I have a copy for you if you want it to. Again, just reach out to me on my Instagram, Airbnb Automated, for any other of your details, and also in the comments too, with any questions to clarify anything I've just said. I will next give you this playlist on market research, because before we pitch a landlord, we want to have the right property. We're not going to pitch a landlord to pick up a bad property that's going to lose money anyway, right? So your next step is market research. Start here. Ask your questions down below. Welcome to the channel, and I will see you on the other side.